Hey guys, this is what you're looking at, and today I'm going to show you how to disassemble your AEG M4. Hope you enjoy the video. Okay guys, I know there's a million of videos like this out there, but I figured I'd go ahead and do one since I will be opening up this gearbox to rewire it to the rear. So main reason why I'm doing that is because since I've been doing a lot of hop-up tuning lately, with the R-hop I'm trying to perfect in this gun. I've always got to keep taking off the upper receiver, and I can just tell my wires are ready to rip any time now because it has to keep going through this small part of the gearbox. And I don't want to have to deal with one of those little doohickey channel things that you can just pull off right here. I'd rather just have something I can completely conceal in the stock and, just set it and forget it. M4 AEG, beforehand you should have already, took your magazine out, shot the gun in a safe direction. That way there's no BBs in there. Of course, doing those 2 to 3 shots on the semi will also help decompress the spring. So we're just going to start off here. Since this is wired to the front, we got to take the battery out first, and you're simply just going to do that by pulling back the delta ring and taking off the handguard. Okay guys, next part here, we're going to take off the upper receiver from the lower receiver. This being the king arms, I got to take both pins out, and it just slides off instead of going up like I know some guns do. So here we go. Use some type of punch. I just use the same screwdriver I do for every part of taking the gun apart. Front one generally comes out fairly easy, at least for mine. The back one, no matter how many times I hit it, it won't come out. King Arms has retaining body pins. That's a really nice feature. And since this gun is wired to the front, this is going to be the last time it's going to be wired to the front. But you just got to be careful with how you take the wires out. Also, the other side, you got your dust cover. Go ahead and let that come down. Mine's kind of finicky. As you see, mine came with a functioning bolt. Since I've been taking it apart so much lately, I'm not going to have it in there till I have my gun completely tuned. So even, I'll probably just keep it out, that way hop-up's easier to adjust, even though it has a functioning bolt. But here you go. You just want to kind of hold that up so it doesn't hit the body pin right here. And then pull the charging handle back and push forward. And your charging handle is going to get stuck right here. So you're just going to want to lift up on it slightly, like so. That way it goes over. And then as you see, it's gone over that little notch right there in the back of the gearbox, right above the spring and to the right of the screw. You can just flip the gun back over. And always look at your wires. Since, as I said, my gun's wired to the front and I don't have those little pins. So I just push my wires in beforehand and then continue to pull the gearbox apart more. And then just keep doing that. And as you see, your gearbox should come right off. Or not your gearbox, but your 2 receivers should just come right apart. Okay, now something easy to do. Just take your hop up in your inner barrel, set that aside. Now going back to the lower receiver and all these different essentials. Next thing we're going to do is take off the stock. You're just going to pull that down. And I know a lot of these guns are very picky, so you'll have to really work at it to get it off, but once it's off, it's off. Just like that. And you see it took me a couple extra tugs on it, but then, as I said, the King Arms is not going to be exactly the same as all guns, but you're going to for me, I have this little screw right here, and 99% of AEG M4s are going to have a cap on the buffer tube. And that's what this is. Also, using a towel, as you see, that I'm using for the video, really good at retaining screws. That way they don't roll away on you. Pick up any grease. That way you don't get your table dirty. And also, if you're taking your gun apart, it's kind of a cushion if it smacks down on the table. So now you got that off, and you will see down the buffer tube. You probably can't see here. But right down there, you'll have a screw. You just want to put your screwdriver in there. And proceed to taking that off, and I'm going to pause the video to do that. Okay guys, as you see, I've taken off my buffer tube now. I just like to keep all the screws and the pieces on the inside. And then this plate right here, it's kind of like a spacer to make sure everything's pretty good on the back. but it also acts, as aesthetic purposes, that way you don't see the gearbox to the bottom. But if you're someone that is using a finicky stock and you rewire the gun, you can always just take that plate off and just have the wires go right through there. Just a little tip. But let's keep moving on with the disassembly. Okay guys, after taking the stock off, now we're going to be getting to the motor and taking that out. First thing you have to do is take off the motor plate. As you see, there's the two outside screws, one here and one there. A tip, use magnetized tip screwdrivers. They're really helpful, that way you don't lose those screws. Then get a flathead or a pair of needle nose pliers, anything similar. Always keep account of where your motor is facing. So if I have the gun left side up, red wires to the left. So just remember that, because you don't want to just keep everything the same as it was when you put it back together. I tend to find that things are a whole lot better like that. So just move your motor wires to the outside, pull your motor right out. Just looking at this, as you see, King Arms motor, there's not even a sticker on it, just I'm gonna guess a normal torque motor. And then looking down the pistol grip, as you see, yes, I've got a headlamp on because I'm a boss, but there's two screws down there. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and we're going to take those out to save some time. Okay guys, after we've taken the motor grip off, now we're going to go to the magazine release, and then after that the last pin to actually physically take the gearbox out. As you see, we got this one Allen screw right here. It is so small, at least for me, it's smaller than the Allen screw you got to take off the flash hider screw. So, which is not on this gun. But I have an extremely small hobby style, you probably can't even see that, but as you see, extremely small hobby style flathead, and it just happened to fit in there for me perfectly, so I got a little off lucky here. So you just take off that one Allen screw, put it to the side, and then you pull off the screw right here, and then you kind of push through the button, and that will fall through to the other side. Okay guys, I've also taken off the body pin right here, and then if you have the King Arms with the functioning bolt, you actually have to take the bolt off too, so that way I don't forget, I will do it on video. Everyone else, you should just be able to slide your gearbox right out. And since this is pretty springy, I'm going to hold it as I hit the pin in the rest of the way. Then just... Okay. Now you see a functioning bolt's pretty big. As this piece goes all the way through to the other side. Just put your pin in it, that way you know where it goes. Flip over, make sure nothing else is moving around. Okay guys, if you do have the functioning bolt, after y'all take that off, you should be able to shimmy the gearbox out. It literally took me about 2 minutes of shimmying, so I just didn't videotape me doing that. And then you should be left with your lower receiver, your selector switches, and then of course your body pins. So you can just set that aside, and that's pretty much it. That's all the disassembly you got to do to get to the gearbox. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Next video will be me working on the gearbox.